first chapter is absolutely bonkers. What the fuck is going on? Hi guys. In case you hadn't noticed, I have a video for you today. How is everyone doing? Stressed and depressed? Yeah, same. I read 2 little books in November. One of them is The Shining and the other I don't have... Why am I like this? So, instead of doing what I read in November, instead I'm going to be talking about 2 books that I was very excited about reading, had very high hopes for, and one of them lived up to my expectations and the other didn't. The books I am talking about, the first one is The Shining by Stephen King, a classic, very well known. And the other book I read was The Bird Eater by Anya Alborn. I read The Bird Eater first and I was very excited about it because I had heard very good things about this author. And why I'm going to be making this comparison in particular is because I have seen some people compare her writing to Stephen King's, or like because she writes horror books. People have said that she's like the next best thing after Stephen King. Going off of this book, I wouldn't necessarily agree. So, yeah, I do have to preface this by saying that this isn't necessarily one of her best works, if I'm getting that right. But it is one of the more well-known ones because I had only heard of this author through 2 books in particular, which was The Bird Eater, which I read, and Brother. And The Bird Eater just sounded creepier, so I was like, yeah, I wanna read about some birds being. Why am I like this? No, but I was intrigued by the title. And I also really liked the cover, which was also like weird and creepy. So I was like, yeah, I'm into this. Flash forward, it was not that scary. It's probably a bit unfair to compare The Bird Eater to The Shining because it's literally considered one of the best books, one of the best horror books in general, and one of the best books that Stephen King has ever written. So I mean, in that regard, it is kind of unfair to compare the 2. I think it's still interesting to see why I preferred one horror book over the other. Firstly, I'm going to start talking about The Bird Eater. So there will be some spoilers because I'm going to talk specifically about the scary elements in this book and why they for me didn't work. A brief summary. The first chapter is absolutely bonkers. It goes in and it's like, what the fuck is going on? So, I mean, I don't even know if it's considered a spoiler because it's the first thing you read. But the first chapter opens and there's this woman who's taking care of her nephew, I believe, because she tells us that his mom actually committed suicide, so her sister basically. So she takes care of her nephew now, and the chapter actually ends with her seeing this weird ghost child at the top of the stairs who then scares her into falling down the stairs, and then it's unclear if he actually stabs her to death or if she just dies from the fall. But she's dead, basically. Whoa, that's the opening chapter. See, from that opening, I was like, okay, we're in for something, you know? This shit's already gone down. My problem with this book was kind of that it didn't know what it wanted to be. So from this opening chapter, you're kind of expecting it to be full-on horror. You know, a full-on horror story. But then, when you actually read it, it's very much... It starts becoming more so about the characters and their kind of internal struggle, especially the main character, who is this boy who has first lost his mother to suicide, or a ghost. And then also his aunt who's taking care of him. So it's kind of him looking back on what happened. So the next chapter is actually him, the little boy grown up, and he goes back to this house where all of these horrifying things happened, and he wants to fix this up. But he has some marriage problems now, he has some traumas he has to work through. He meets his best friend from when he was younger. He meets this girl he was in love with when he was younger. So it becomes kind of this like internal character study or something. So it's very much about him and trying to work through this trauma. That's what it starts to become, and that's where I was kind of getting more interested. And I was like, okay, I like these characters. I'm interested in what's going to happen. How is he going to work through all these things? Are his friends going to help him? Like, that's what I was invested in. It was very much about the relationship between him and this girl that he used to know and his best friend. And then it just went cuckoo. Crazy at the end. I was so happy reading this after exciting times, because these were actually characters I was kind of invested in and I liked. Eric was fucking hilarious. There's this bird that dies, and it's like a really big crow that dies on Aaron's doorstep, and him and Eric walk out and look at it. And they're all like, what the fuck happened? Why did this bird just commit suicide on my doorstep? And then Eric is like, did you do something to them? And Aaron's like, to who? The crow? The crows? And Eric is like, they are very smart. They will remember it. They will get revenge if you piss them off somehow. And I was like, Eric, I vibe with you. You know what you're talking about. Which is correct. Crows are very intelligent birds, and they will get their revenge eventually. Yeah, so you have all this build-up when it starts becoming a different kind of story, and then the last few chapters, it goes bonkers again. It's so weird. It reverts back into like this horror tropey cliche ending, and I was literally sitting there when I read it like, why did you do this? What is this story supposed to be now? Spoilers, it's not a happy ending. So we have all this build up for Aaron to eventually kill himself, and then Sherry, well, him and Sherry obviously can't be together. Also, Eric dies before that, which I was already fucking pissed off about because Eric was my favorite character. And then he dies in such a stupid, dumb way. He climbs up some rickety, rackety ladder that he himself commented is like, this doesn't seem safe. And then he climbs onto it, and then it falls, and he fucking dies. Why was that necessary? And then Aaron kills himself because I don't fucking know. Because we can't have people who have traumas resolve these traumas and get a happy ending, And then the final chapter is literally just Sherry and her husband getting this house where everyone died in. And it's like a creepy ending with her being pregnant, and there's like this whole backstory on the ghost where she's basically going to give birth to another like murderous boy and stuff. Like it's implied that she may be pregnant from Aaron, not her husband, but you never got when did Aaron and Sherry have sex, the kiss and stuff, but nothing else happens. Is it like a mystical pregnancy thing? Because I can't. So this ending was literally so disappointing. You spent all this time with these characters and then you're just going to kill them off and have like Sherry be pregnant with the next Antichrist. Like, why the fuck? Why the fuck did I spend my time reading this? Okay. Yeah, let's talk about the horror. I don't know where it was. You know what was scarier when you Google this book? Because you Google bird eater and you don't Google it, by the way. The Google search is scarier than the book itself, because apparently bird eater is also some gross ass, big ass, ugly ass spider that you don't want to look up. So don't type in bird eater randomly in Google Images. That was scarier than the entire book. So the horror aspect about this book was basically this ghost boy that has been haunting this house for a long time. And he eats birds and he leaves dead birds behind in your house all the time. And at some point it was just annoying. Like, it was not scary. Maybe the first time Aaron comes back to this house, he finds like a dead bird in the middle of the house and he's like, well, that's gross. And then it's just a lot of repetitive stuff with these birds, and every few pages or like every chapter you have like him going into this house, finding a dead bird or finding a lot of dead birds. And it's just like, after, like, it's just not that creepy. I don't know. Whenever I see dead birds or dead animals, it just makes me kind of sad and upset. But it doesn't, like, scare me or anything. They're just like, okay, dead birds. I mean... And then he's also followed a lot by this ghost boy who then looks at him and eats a dead bird. And I don't know, again, maybe because it happened so much, I was just done after a while. I was like, okay, well, either he's going to see this ghost child eat a dead bird, or he's going to find a dead bird in his house. Like, where's the scary element? I don't know, it was not scary at all. I was thinking there was going to be more. There's going to be like this whole background story that was going to come together in the end, because in the first chapter, we also find out that his mother actually killed herself in the bathtub and he doesn't know. So I was like, maybe there's like something more going on. Like, why did she kill herself? Is it all going to come together? Was there like some secret that she was hiding? Was there like some... No. She just saw this ghost boy and died, I guess. I would give this author another chance. Apparently Brother is like her best work, but I was expecting something more. I mean, in the beginning I was expecting a horror book, so I was expecting some weird, freaky, gross, uncomfortable stuff, you know? That's what you kind of want going into a horror story. I was like, maybe this guy is going to be forced to eat a bird or something. Why am I coming up with creepier stuff? Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I've just seen too much. Maybe I've just seen and read too much, you know. And then after that I read The Shining. And I was literally that Gordon Ramsay meme where he's like, delicious, finally some good fucking food. But then I was thinking, delicious, finally some good fucking literature. Like, this was everything I wanted Bird Eater to be. Only I was expecting Bird Eater to be like freakier. But yeah, I totally get why Stephen King is the king of horror. And not even that, he's just an amazing storyteller and writer. This isn't my first King. I read another short book from him before, and I also read On Writing. But this was my first horror story from Stephen King. And yeah, it's everything I wanted it to be, and he did not disappoint. This is why I get Stephen King's horror, because he combines horror elements with the scariest thing there is out there, which is humanity, you know, being like people having day-to-day problems. Like in this case, it was the father being an alcoholic and the struggles the family faces with his anger issues, possibility of unemployment. Like that's scary, you know. That's enough to freak me out. Unemployment, violent men, you know, that's scarier than any ghost boy you can imagine. You can sit there and eat dead birds all you like, as long as you're not like screaming at me, trying to murder me. So the premise of the story is, it's about the main character, kind of named Jack Torrance, and his wife and son, who go with him to the Overlook Hotel, and he has to, it's his job to maintain this hotel over the winter, and strange things start happening. The hotel might have a bloody history, might have some ghosts. See, this is the type of ghost story that you incorporate horror with very human elements and problems. I was surprised how quickly I got through this one, because it's like 650 pages, which I was a little bit intimidated about. But yeah, I got through this so quickly. It doesn't even feel like it's 600 pages. The king of build-up, the king of shit's about to go down. Even the really scary ghost elements in this were freaky. Like, if you know, you know. It was, ugh. And you also, I think that Stephen King is also really good at creating very human, not necessarily likable characters, but relatable characters in some way. You know, when you just read a story that actually is trying to say something and actually knows what it's trying to say. I really don't want to be mean to the bird eater because I feel bad. Like, this is not maybe such an accurate comparison. This is maybe not such a good comparison, but that's kind of what... I still think it's interesting to do this kind of comparison. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you've read any of these books. What did you think? Okay, that was it.